This week, we investigate the trickle-down effects of how the decreasing size of wild salmon will affect the seafood industry. In mid-August this year, a study from Nature Communications, based on 60 years of measurements from 12.5 million fish across Alaska, declared that for all 4 salmon species, average body sizes were smaller after 2010 compared to before 1990. For Chinook salmon, the species that has shown the highest rates of size reduction is estimated to have an average per fish reduction in egg production of around 16%. Nutrient transport is down 28%, fisheries value is down 21%, and meals for rural people are down 26%. Downsizing of organisms and wild sustainable resources is a global concern, and current trends may pose substantial risks for nature and the industry. The steady decrease in salmon sizing directly affects fisheries, as smaller fish produce a lower yield, but can also reach a lower wholesale price. Smaller salmon could affect short-term value, however, there is a massive decline in harvest volume of sockeye and pink and chum this year. Some fisheries we spoke with are predicting to see prices on smaller salmon increase again due to the clear shortage of wild salmon inventory. Looking at long-term pricing, we predict a lean towards the demand for smaller salmon. Consumers typically value wild salmon and are willing to pay the same retail price for a 400-gram fillet from a smaller 3.5-pound fish as from a larger 6.5-pound fish. In addition to the size declines of fish, fisheries have growing concerns about harvest variability. When runs don't materialize, harvesters and processors that operate in multiple species and areas still have costs that have to be spread out over fewer fish. There are multiple theories towards the potential drivers for the shrinking fish. The Journal of Nature Ecology and Evolution by the University of Washington stated that as temperatures of water in lakes and streams steadily increase, this is encouraging salmon to head out to sea after only 1 year. This 50% drop in time spent in freshwater is slowing down the maturing stage and increases time at sea where wild fish compete with hatcheries for food. Nature Communications also mentioned that across species, shifts in age structure explained 88% of interannual variation in mean size on average. In general, salmon are currently smaller than in the past because adults are returning to spawn at younger ages. Less meat on fish threatens the entire supply chain, from the rural salmon-dependent communities to commercial production and distributors, to the chefs preparing the food. Anyone who smokes their salmon has a very specific recipe guideline in order to produce a consistent product. Therefore, if they typically were to use a 4 to 6 pound sockeye and the catch is heavy on the 2 to 4 pound sockeye, they have to retool the whole operation. This could really hinder some long-standing companies where the recipe has been used for multiple generations, and this consistency is part of their business model. Processors rely on larger-sized fish for portioning. For example, you could get a 6-ounce portion from a 4 to 6 pound fish that will be nice and thick with a nice uniform look and great plate coverage, around 3 inches wide. Take that same portion off a 2-pound fish, and now you have a thin, wide portion. A chef's cooking time will change and the product will ultimately look different. These changes in processing could directly affect companies who make pre-packaged and portioned flavored retail items for freezers. If they begin using smaller sized fish, it will mean changing their packaging and adjusting to a wider portion. And lastly, the overall volume and weight of salmon will decrease, which could short the market and distributors who have built systems relying on the average weights of fish. Now on to our sustainability segment of the week, where we highlight organizations playing a role in the future of sustainability. The Environmental Defense Fund, one of the world's leading environmental organizations, is pioneering technologies and new platforms that can turn fishing vessels into smart boats.
Accountability is one of the biggest drivers of innovation. There's an opportunity for smart boats or networked vessels with sensors and various emerging technologies to really help us give a better understanding of the state of the ecosystem. What's happening out there? What are some of these triggers that are key to productive cycles.
These methods, including sensor technology, artificial intelligence, and building networks, can redefine fishing and streamline how we manage fisheries, leading to greater efficiency, profitability, and sustainability. For more information, please check the links below our video. Thank you for joining me for the Tradex Foods 3-Minute Market Insight. This has been Tasha Cadence reminding you to stay safe, buy smart, and eat more seafood.